In the past videos, we discussed how we can implement some of the core elements of a design system, such as the color styles, the typography, and even iconography. But there's so much more that you can do with a design system. And in this video, we're going to cover some of the most essential elements that you should consider including in your design systems right after the components, which is going to be an entire section dedicated to that. So let's get started, and we're going to simply duplicate this element right here. And if you're following from just this video, you can either just listen to it, or even much better apply by creating your own file. In the previous videos, we're creating all of these elements from scratch, but you can also simply open a new Figma file and follow along. So what we're going to do here is we're going to, well, first of all, delete these items since we don't need them. And over here, we're going to add the shadow text. And this is exactly where we're going to start from, which is the shadows. So I'm going to create a rectangle, and I'm going to make the layout, the UI visible. And we're going to create our first shadow element. So I'm simply going to basically round this up, make this white. I'm going to apply an effect which is going indeed to be a shadow. Now we're going to do a duplicate of this element just a few times so that we can get the point across. And what we're going to do is in the second item, I'm going to increase the blur to 25%. I'm going to make this Y to 14, and I'm going to basically increase it even more, so to 44, and then again to 24, and I'm going to increase this even more so that we can have a different variation of this shadow for different use cases. Now, these ones are quite exaggerated because I really wanted to make the point, but realistically, within your design system, you might have some quite subtle shadow differences for UI components like button, hover states, active states, those type of things. So you're likely going to tweak them even more. So what we're gonna do is we're essentially going to sync this within the design system, because this is one of the opportunities that we have as designers. We can even sync the shadows in order to have a high level of consistency between the shadows in our design projects. So that's exactly what we're gonna do, and we're going to start with this first one. So I'm going to go over here under the style. And as you can see, we have this window, which you might already be familiar with since it's very similar to the one, almost identical to the one in color and textiles. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a style. And as you can see, we can see the preview of the shadow effect. So I'm actually going to rename this to shadow. And I'm going to have a slash over here, a dash of, and I'm going to call this 100, since we're going to want to basically make this 100, the second one 200, 300, 400, and you get the point by now. So what we're going to do is we're going to basically duplicate this to this other one. So this one is going to be shadow slash 200, create style. And I'm going to go over here and shadow slash 300, create style. And once again, this one's going to be shadow slash 400, create style. Perfect. Now, if we go and we analyze the options under the effect styles, you can see that we have indeed these 4 shadows under one nice and clean label. So very easy, very simple. You can always edit them. So if you need to edit the property, you can easily do that directly from here. So nothing really is set in stone. So always keep that in mind whenever you're working on design systems. So this is going to be really useful because say that I'm in a project and I need to apply a shadow, which I already have, say shadow 300. I can simply apply it, and you're going to see that the fill options and the radius wasn't catched, so only the effect was registered. So this is really useful, and of course you can mix and match the styles with the color styles, for example, and I can go ahead and add the text on top of it. So there's a lot of flexibility in terms of these options. So this is shadows, and simply going to adjust it here. And now we're going to talk about another really useful element to always keep in mind, which is having a structure within your layouts. So let's actually go ahead, and I'm going to make this significantly bigger because I just want to have extra space, and then I can basically reduce the size of items after I'm done with organizing the layout. But what we want to do is to create the different layouts with grids and columns for different artboards. So say that I'm going to have 3 types of artboards within a design system. The first one is going to be the desktop one. So I'm simply going to bring it right over here, and I'm simply going to make this color slightly on a gray tint, just because it's more visible. And or actually, another thing that we can do even more simply is we can give it a very slight stroke like that, so that it's really visible. And then we're going to have a layout grid applied to this, which is going to be either in columns, or you can keep the grid. I like to add 12 columns for the desktop. I'm going to add a little bit of a margin. So you can see that we now have this base layout grid that we can basically sync up as a component. And this can be, for example, the, say, desktop 4040. And this can be the base for a layout for a website, for a web app. And every time that I need to create a new screen from scratch, I don't need to basically reinvent the wheel. So for example, say that we want to also apply some other elements such as a row, which gives me an idea on what's going to be like the top margin that we needed to consider. Say that, for example, over here we're going to have the headers. I can apply both the columns and the rows at the same time and basically keep everything organized and have just a very easy layout to work with. So you can establish this for any company that you're working for, or any project that you're working on, really. So really easy to do and establish. And I can go ahead over here and essentially say something around the lines of let's call it layouts, and this is going to be the 1440. So I can go ahead over here and add 4040 pixel, and you can essentially continue this and create smaller versions. So for example, I'm going to create the phone. Usually in projects, I might have a few different versions for the tablet and any size in between the desktop and the mobile version. In rare occasions, I might also have larger frames, but usually for the very most part, practically speaking, you're mainly going to work on the desktop and mobile versions, maybe on the tablet designs, but most companies, especially if they're not at a very large scale or if they need to move fast, they're not going to invest in creating all the different breakpoints in the design view. Most likely that is going to be covered by the developer when they implement that. So you need to give, you still need to give them a clear idea as to how the design is going to be reinterpreted within the development environment or the live environment, really, since we're creating the concepts and then the developers are going to bring them to life. So let's go continue, and I'm going to create a mobile version of this or actually a mobile layout. So I'm going to add a stroke, which is going to be quite light. Let's increase the height. And I'm going to add a layout grid of 2 columns. Since on a mobile, it's quite convenient just to have 2 columns, just a little bit of margin, and we're going to essentially keep it like this. And I can rename this to mobile and 375, and this one's going to be, oops, for some reason I dragged and dropped it directly inside of it, and it's going to be 375 pixels. All right, so let's go ahead, let's make this one smaller. And we have the base also for the mobile. So we can simply turn it into a component and then sync it up within the library. So these are some items that you definitely want to consider. Other items can be, for example, the backgrounds in models. So see that you have a model, and I'm just going to give you an idea of how this works without going into many details. You can have, for example, a dark background with some opacity applied to it, since usually you want to see also the UI which is below. So it's going to give you context as to where in the app experience that model was opened. And then maybe you can add also some background blur, things of that nature. But the important thing is that you can actually add this as either a color or a style, especially if you apply the effects. And you can add all of these minute elements of the UI in the design system. So really think through each and every time you're creating a new design, what are going to be the repeating elements that might be beneficial to add to the design system, because as you've seen, you can add pretty much anything within the design system, but it all starts with you and your creativity and imagination and really pattern recognition skills, which you're going to develop over time. It takes time and experience, but after a while, you're going to start picking up these patterns, and you're going to successfully identify them and then implement them in the design system, so you can achieve this high level of consistency, scalability, and flexibility, really, when it comes to creating these structures. Hope this video was helpful, and I will see you in the very next one.